Because of some App Store politics being played by Apple, Stadia is now available on iOS, but not in the traditional form of an app that we're all pretty much used to. We spent a week playing the progressive web app to give you the full lowdown of Stadia on iOS. Thanks for watching 95 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. So Apple being Apple means that unfortunately the dedicated Stadia app on iPad and iPhone can't officially play your favourite titles, such as the impressive Cyberpunk 2077. A stopgap option that was first pulled, then reinstated, was the fantastic Stadia browser that let you play on your iOS devices. This effectively changed the user agent data to allow you to connect to Stadia, and while a solid interim solution, isn't officially linked to Google and Stadia in any way. Google's solution for Stadia gamers and potential Stadia gamers on iOS that appeases Apple's stringent App Store policies is a PWA or progressive web app. So you're probably wondering, how do I get Stadia on my iPhone or iPad then? Well, unlike Android, to play Stadia on iOS, be that iPhone or iPad, you won't actually be downloading anything. The process is a little bit different, but in no way complicated. There are some minor caveats to playing on iOS 2 that probably won't be an issue, but are notable due to the changes brought in about with iOS 14. So as we mentioned, Stadia for iOS is not at all playable using the current application obtained via Apple's App Store. Instead, you will need to use the Safari web browser on iOS to access the game platform and begin playing properly. Effectively, this does relegate the dedicated app back to being a library management tool that it has already been since launch over a year ago anyway. Despite the fact that you can now set your default browser on iOS for the very first time with the recent iOS 14 updates, you will need to use Safari to access Stadia. One thing to note here is that if you have already set Chrome or another mobile browser as your default, during this initial setup process, we would advise setting Stadia as your default until the PWA is installed on your home screen. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to launch Safari and head to stadia.google.com. From here you will be asked to sign into your account if you have not done so already. You can keep doing this if you wish, but a smarter move is to add this Stadia launch shortcut to your home screen for quicker access. So to create a Stadia home screen shortcut from the Stadia website, press the share button within Safari and then scroll down to choose add to home screen. This will create an app icon that you can press and launch the full screen Stadia web app on your iOS devices. This is all you need to know about progressive web apps. They look and feel like a native app, but are simply launching a website shortcut. To help save confusion, the Stadia PWA is the exact same colour scheme as you'll find on desktop or Chrome OS. The native app, which can't game, will remain against a white background, while the PWA has a white Stadia logo with a red background. So you're probably wondering, how does Stadia Play look and perform on iOS? Well, in a nutshell, very well. While the launch method shares more in common with your desktop PC or laptop than it does with those of us using Android, Stadia for iOS runs just as you'd expect. I must admit I am in love with the ability to play games on my iPad Pro, as the Stadia browser has been a very good stopgap until this implementation. Of course, the screen does have the same black borders when in landscape on iPhone and iPad as you'll find on Android. Games run smoothly and on a solid connection. Even on a mobile data connection I saw minimal issues with latency, but I did have an issue with the Cyberpunk 2077 UI being quite hard to read on a smaller display. I must admit that most of the games I've been playing have been running at 1080p 60fps, or at least they have been to my mind. That said, you won't be able to play games at 4K natively, as no iOS devices do have a 4K display at this point in time. That said, this may change as Apple does release new devices. Opening the Store tab or your Game Library tab did feel a tad slower, as these sections are forced to refresh each and every time you open them. On Android, these sections can likely be preloaded in the background for even quicker loader. Unlike on Android, because this is running within a mobile browser, it does state that you can play up to 4K resolution on your mobile device. I'm not sure if this is a glitch that will be resolved, but you can alter the resolution from within settings, as this might hammer your data cap should you have one. At launch, the only thing missing is the Google Assistant, which is also not available within the browser as yet. One thing I will note is how much quicker I actually have found the pairing process for my Stadia Premier controller versus attempting to pair wirelessly with my Pixel 5. The process is seemingly quicker on iOS than on Android, or at least it has been in my experience. Often I have to press the pairing code on my Pixel 5 a couple of times before I can get my gamepad synced. Often I just plug it in to save time, but that actually isn't possible on iOS because plug gamepads are not recognised by the system. Also, when playing on mobile data connections, naturally the recent iPhone 12 series should have an advantage thanks to 5G connection capabilities. However, on a 4G connection, I saw no immediate differences in my locale with the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12 Pro on the same carrier here in the UK, which is 3. But what about gamepads then? Well, the official Stadia controller works on iOS with absolutely no issues, as you're technically not pairing the gamepad to your smartphone, you're actually pairing it directly to your cloud gaming session. This process is easy so long as you have an existing Stadia controller set up and connected to the same network as your iPhone or iPad. The biggest bonus though for me has been the ability to use a Bluetooth controller connected to your iPhone or iPad without any major issues. When using Stadia, this could be finicky and problematic because of limitations that Apple put on that application. Because this is a true implementation, Bluetooth controllers such as those from PS4 and the Xbox One gamepad will work just fine when synced with your device. Another notable here is that Stadia will also recognise the controller layout and show any appropriate on-screen controller specific prompts without any issues whatsoever. I also must admit I can't personally see any issues or latency that is discernible from the official Stadia controller, but that will be dependent on your locale, network conditions and stability. So long as you can pair a Bluetooth controller to your iOS device, you should have no issues using it effectively as a native gamepad with Stadia. So we think that just about covers the state of Stadia on iOS, how you play, how it runs. If you have any other questions though, please drop them in a comment down in the comment section below. We'll do our best to answer as many as possible. But as always, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.